after we learn the basics of what angles are and how to name them, we now move into angle addition. So here we have the angle addition postulate. And a postulate is something in geometry that we know is true. We don't have to prove it. And before we get to the angle addition postulate, we have to talk about the protractor postulate. And that states that the sides, raised lines or line segments that make up an angle can be matched up with the real numbers between 0 and 180, allowing for angles to be measured. All that really says is that we can use a protractor to find angle measurements. We're not going to be using a protractor right now, but we will at some point in the future. The angle addition postulate says if we agree that we can assign degrees to angles, then we can add those angles. And it says, if D is in the interior of angle ABC, then the measure of angle ABD plus the measure of angle DBC is equal to the measure of angle ABC. Essentially what we are being told is that the two small parts of the angle have to add up to the whole. So that means that these angles have to share a vertex and they have to share a side. And again, all this is saying is that the two small parts add up to the whole. So numerically, what this means is if I know that angle ABD is 80 degrees and I know that angle DBC is, let's say, 30 degrees, then I can substitute and I can find that angle ABD is 80 plus 30, and that lets me know that the measure of angle ABC, or the whole, is 110 degrees. Now we use it more algebraically. So if we have this picture here, and I'm just going to zoom in a little bit, and you can see that we're going to be asked to find all of these parts. So for number 1, it says the measure of angle XYW is equal to the x plus 26, and the measure of angle WYZ is equal to 2x, and the measure of angle XYZ is equal to 107. And at this point, everyone's like, why are there M's? What is all this gobbledygook? I am so confused. So the M in front just stands for measure. That means that we are looking for a number specifically. And what I like to do is take the picture and go one step at a time. So the measure of angle XYW, so I'm going to find XYW, well that's x plus 26. And the measure of angle WYZ is 2x, so WYZ is going to be 2x. The measure of angle XYZ is the whole thing, and that's 107. So now I can set up my algebra equation because I know that two parts add up to the whole. So I say x plus 26 plus 2x is equal to 107. And once I can set it up, I can solve it algebraically. So when people tell me that there's no work to show, there's work to show because you can label the picture and you can set up the equation. Now, because this is geometry, you can, I don't want to say skip steps, but you don't have to label every step. If you know that you're subtracting 26 from both sides, you don't have to write minus 26. You can just subtract 26 and get 81. And you don't have to show the division bar to show that you're dividing by 3. You can just divide by 3 and get that x is equal to 27. Then I'm going to look towards the bottom and I'm going to see what is the problem asking me to find. Well, it's asking me to find x. It's asking me to find x, which is 27. But then it's also asking me to find the measure of angle XYW and angle WYZ. So all I'm going to do is substitute. The measure of angle XYW is x plus 26. So I'm just going to substitute. I know that the measure of angle XYW is equal to x plus 26. Well, I just found out that x was 27. And 27 plus 26 is 53. So I know that the measure of angle XYW is 53. Now I want to find the measure of angle WYZ. So I substitute. That's 2x, and 2 times 27 tells me that it is 54. And now I have found all the parts of the problem, and there is plenty of work to show. On your paper, please take a moment and find the answers for example 2. Now, if we look at another definition, we have an angle bisector. And we remember that if we bisect something, that means it cuts it in half into two equal parts. So a ray or line or segment that divides an angle into two congruent angles is a bisector. And in this case, we say that ray EG bisects angle DEF. So when I see that, the first thing I want to do is mark on my paper that ray EG is bisecting angle DEF. And please note, when I am looking at these figures, I'm moving my pencil, I'm finding the ray, I'm finding the angle. If these angles are congruent, I'm going to put these little arcs because that shows that those angles are congruent. So therefore, angle DEG is going to be congruent to angle GEF. So ray ST bisects angle RSU, and I take it one step at a time, and I'm going to mark those as bisected. And the measure of angle RST is 5x plus 2, and the measure of angle TSU is 6x minus 6. And I want to find x, the measure of RST, and the measure of angle RSU. So since I know that these are bisected, that lets me know that they are equal. Since they are congruent, I am going to set the equations equal to each other. I'm going to subtract 5x and get x. I'm going to add 6 to both sides, and I'm going to get 8. Then I'm just going to substitute. Angle RST is going to be 40 plus 2, so that tells me that it is 42 degrees. RSU is based upon angles RST and angles TSU. If this side is 42, then this side should be 42, and I like to substitute just to make sure that I didn't make a mistake. 6 times 8 is 48, minus 6 is 42, and then to get the entire length, I simply add those up, and I get 84. Example 4, it says that ray MO, and there's more going on here, so I have to take my time. Ray MO bisects angle LMP. Well, here's angle LMP, and ray MO bisects that, so those angles are equal. And the measure of angle LMO is 5x plus 6. And the measure of angle PMN is 9x minus 3. So I want to find x, the measure of angle OMP, the measure of angle LMP, and the measure of angle PMN. And when I look here, what seems that I'm missing this little part in here. Since these are bisected, that means they are congruent or equal, and that means that they are both the same. And because this looks like a straight line, that makes it a straight angle, and a straight angle has 180 degrees. So the equation and the work that I'm going to show is 2 times 5x plus 6, because there's 2 of them, plus 9x minus 3 is equal to 180 degrees. And then I'm going to solve for x. 10x plus 12 plus 9x minus 3 equals 180. I get 19x plus 9 equals 180. 19x is going to be 171, and when I divide both sides by 19, I get that x is equal to 9. And once I find x, then it is just a matter of substitution. So the measure of angle OMP, well, we already know that's the same as angle LMO, so I'm just going to take 5 times 9 plus 6, and that gives me 51. And the measure of angle LMP, well, if this side is 51, then this side is 51. So altogether, they are 102. And the measure of angle PMN, again, I can take 180 minus 102 and get 78, but I always like to be sure and substitute. So 9 times 9 minus 3, that's 81 minus 3, that's 78. So before I am done, I can find my answer and check it using common sense, because a straight angle has 180 degrees, and I know that my answer is correct. Please complete this example. Please complete this example. Please complete this example. Please make sure to bring any questions you may have to class.